בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, השם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח, השיעור יהיה לעילוי נשמת מנחם אריק בן מסעודה. The subject of the שיעור is כיסוי דם, covering the blood after we shecht certain animals and certain fowls. First of all, let's get to the source. Where do we learn that we have such a mitzvah? So the Torah tells us in Sefer Vayikra, Parashat Ahre Mot, in chapter 11, verse 13. The Torah tells us like this: ואיש איש מבני ישראל ומן הגר הגר בתוככם. The Torah tells us any Jewish person or any convert that live amongst you, okay, אשר יצוד צידה, that he gone and he became captured animal, now we're going to get to it, חיה ועוף, חיה ועוף. Haya, it's a wild kosher animal. Of is a fowl. We'll get to it, and I explain everything. Asher ya'achel, that means that they are kosher, that we can eat them. Veshapach et damo, that means he shechted it properly. Obligated to cover it with blood. V'chisau be'afar. Huh? Sorry, what did I say?
Cover it with the sand.
Cover it with sand or with soil. Sorry. Cover the blood. Cover the blood with soil or with sand. Sorry, my mistake. Okay. So that's the mitzvah that we're going to learn today. What is it? So the first thing that we have to understand, what is haya? Haya is a wild kosher animal. And we have only 7, Rabotai, only 7 wild kosher animal. And they are. I'm going to say it in Hebrew, then I'm going to change it to English. Hatzvi, ha'ayal, yahmul, dishon, tau, vezemer. And I'm going to explain them. In English, you call it the deer, the buck, the moose, the ram, antelope, buffalo, and the giraffe.
Zemer is a giraffe.
Yeah, that's it. Zemer is a giraffe.
I don't think so.
Okay.
How you know?
Because you know.
Okay. Giraffe is a kosher animal.
Yeah, but it's not zemer. Zemer is giraffe.
Yeah. Zemer is a giraffe. Okay.
Zemer is like a ayal, I think.
No.
But if the rabbi say we can't...
Okay. Now we talk about the kosher one animal. Then we have fowls. What is fowls?
A bird.
Haya. What is a bird? So we have to understand. There is certain birds that they're not kosher. But there are certain birds that they are kosher. For example, and when we say fowl, it includes chicken.
Okay.
So it's chicken and the kosher birds. What's the difference between a kosher bird and not a kosher bird? When a kosher bird stands on a piece of wood or stick, she shows all her legs like this, the claw. The non-kosher one doesn't put the 4, she put 2 in the front and 2 at the back. But Hazal explained to us something else. Not only that you can't tell. That non-kosher animals,
Chicken.
those the one that when they're flying, while they're flying, they can hunt other animal.
I think only makok.
Yeah.
Like an eagle and
The eagle,
Or a vulture.
the vulture. Not only that, also the crow is not kosher. You understand? So there is there in Parashat Ahre Mot, the Torah explains all of that. We're not going to go to it. But what the Torah tells us of fowls, it's referring to kosher birds, that they are the yonah, that's a dove or a pigeon. Okay? And the kosher chicken amongst it, that we know that the kosher chicken, what is it? Normal chicken and the... No, there's another one. No, what did they eat usually?
Yonah, slav.
A chicken, a big, no? The Indian, turkey. Remember? Tarnegol Hodu, they call it in Hebrew.
You eat it?
So, sure. Tarnegol Hodu?
absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. So those the kosher one. So those one,
So there's only 2, 3, 4.
more.
Wait,
There's
I've got
many
a
more,
question,
many
I've
more.
got
Rega, leave the question. First understand. Those are the kosher wild animal and the fowls that after we shech them, we obligated to cover the blood. So now, let's stop here, and we have a question. What's happening with the cow,
כבש,
the
יפה
bull,
מאוד.
the sheep, the goats? What's happened with them after you shech them? Those we're not obligated to cover the blood.
Wow.
We'll explain why. That's in the end, I explain why. Now I'm going to go through the process. How does it work? So when a person decide to shecht, and I tell you when does it usually happen. If you go to the abattoir, a person that is a shochet of chicken, what they do? Where they shecht the chicken, they have a plate full of soil, and they shecht on it. After they finish to shecht, they cover that blood with soil. We'll see what kind of a soil we need. Okay? So the process go like that. That when you shecht those wild kosher animal and the fowls, that they kosher fowls, it have to be a ground underneath. That means a soil or sand underneath. And after you finish to shecht, you cover the blood with soil. So what do we learn from here? It have to be blood underneath, soil underneath, and then the blood pour into it, and you cover it with soil. Remember that. That's very important,
What is the
Rabotai. Soil זה עפר. עפר, sand,
sand.
soil, sand, הכל אותו דבר.
Cement.
It's filthy.
No, that's
No,
cement.
cement. Okay, so how do you do that? Before you shecht, you have a brocha. אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ציוונו על מצוות שחיטה. But before you cover the blood, you have to say also a brocha. אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ציוונו על כיסוי דם.
בעפר.
לא, כיסוי דם, אין בעפר. אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ציוונו על כיסוי דם. לא מוסיפים בעפר. That means that we know from here that the mitzvah of kisui dam also have a brocha. So if you look at the process, we see that there is 3 different stages. Number 1, you shecht, but before you shecht, what you have to have? Soil underneath. That when the blood come out from the neck, will go straight into the soil. Okay?
On everyone.
On any one of those that we mentioned.
No, but if it's, let's say it's an abattoir, and they've got 10 or 15 that they want to...
In an abattoir, for example, they shecht 100 chicken.
Yes.
So all the blood of each one of them have to
have the
fall
same
into
process.
the soil. Yes.
Okay, okay.
So what do? They make a big, I would call it a container. That's the right word, container. They fill it up with soil. And the blood fall after you shecht straight into that soil.
So you tell me today when they kill the chicken, there is like a pach like this, and they put the chicken on there.
He shecht. Did you see how they shecht chicken?
Yes.
They hold the head. There's a special way, and he hold it that it doesn't move, and he shecht the neck.
Okay,
and
but
he
they
pour
put it on a basket, on a bucket, and all the blood is dropping.
So what did
But you need to have a sandlet. But I didn't say a sandlet.
What?
You tell me now. You told us underneath have to be a sand.
So we say you take a container
Of
and
what?
you
Full
fill
of
it up
blood?
with soil. No, you fill it up with soil. And the blood that comes from the chicken have to fall inside the soil
And
on
then
a
you cover
container.
it.
And if not, it's not
And
kosher?
after you finish, you cover the container,
With soil.
okay? And that's it.
He's
And you
obviously
fill up
never
themselves.
worked in a kosher butcher shop. Because I will teach him a little bit about shechting.
Yeah.
Did you share chicken?
Yes.
And
So you must
Wait. Let's get into it. So we see that the process, Rabotai, you're missing the point now. Eliyahu. Number 1, we have to have soil. Then we shecht. After you shecht, you have the mitzvah that we have to say, the brocha, and then you cover the blood. That's the process.
That's actually quite simple.
Yes.
For you.
If you know,
if you know
what
to
you're
kill.
doing.
But do you cover the blood
Him, yes.
in the same container?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I got
Put the cover. Okay.
But
So
there
then-
is a question. Wait, I'm talking, sorry.
No, no.
Why only blood?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get. Wait. Vachabiki, we say in Hebrew. What kind of a soil we have to use? Rabotai, that's very important. The soil that we have to use.
River sand.
River sand, you say. Okay. So I'm going to bring what the Rambam said. And Rabbeinu Ovadiah Bartenura bringing it on a Mishnah in Masechet Hulin. And they're explaining the Mishnah in Masechet Hulin in chapter 6, Mishnah 7. And they explain what's the soil that we must use to cover the blood. It's very important. So the Rambam and Rabbeinu Ovadiah Bartenura say that the mitzvah to cover the covering, Rabotai, the blood, it has to be a soil or a sand that weeds or flower can grow.
Yeah.
If that soil, nothing can grow on it, you didn't fulfill the mitzvah. So we see from here that the soil or the sand have to be a sand that something can grow from it.
It's very
So
pure.
what
On it.
sand is
It
that?
comes off the bank
Any
of the
sand,
river.
any sand.
Any sand.
River
But
sand.
how do you know that
I tell you which sand you can't. If you go, Nesoret זה מותר. Nesoret זה בסדר. Nesoret is okay. Nesoret, sorry. Eliyahu asked, is the sawdust is okay?
we say this?
We can put the sawdust, it's okay. But wait 1 second, before I give you a chance. You ask which soil doesn't. There is certain soil, if you go to the Dead Sea, that it's mixed with mineral. Did you been in the Dead Sea? Did you smell this there? If you pass, there's certain, this kind of a soil, nothing can grow.
It's a healthy.
That kind of a soil, nothing can grow on it, that you can't cover the blood. Yes, Paul.
If you're standing on ground, which is soil, what I'm actually asking is, do you have to actually dig up the soil yourself?
Okay.
Or is it soil
I understand.
which is naturally
So
there?
I tell you what, when I was young, and still today, Torah Academy. And Torah Academy, before Yom Kippur, there is a custom that brought by the Ari Kadosh, that they do kaparot. They take chicken and they shech. A male for a male, a female for a female. So because it's on the ground, you don't need to bring another ground. You have a ground. The mitzvah is to cover it. You understand? But let's say that you shecht on top of a towel, a floor that been toweled, you have to bring soil. You understand? Very good question.
תמשיך את הפסוק, כי אדם הוא הנפש.
רגע, נגיע הכל.
So,
Now,
Rabbi, I just must clarify something. The soil that they use, the butchers used to use in the old days, is the banks, the river sand on the side where the grass grows to the edge.
everything.
And then you also get the mixture of mud further back.
River
It's
sand,
all-
building
it's all
sand,
filtered.
plaster sand, all of those sand
It filters
that
out.
been filtered,
Yeah.
or the sand from your
Garden.
garden,
Yeah.
all of that's good enough, as long that something can grow on it, even a weed. And we'll see why it have to be. Now, who's obligated to cover the blood? The shochet. Let's see. So I'm going to bring what the Rambam say. The Rambam in Ilchot Schitah, in chapter 14, halacha 16, the Rambam say that lechatchila, the person that shecht, he is obligated to cover the blood. But for some reason, the shochet couldn't cover. Especially, you know when the mistake quite often happen? It's on kaparot. He's so busy, it's so hectic, people standing in the queue, and I want, and he doesn't know. And he forget. So the mitzvah, for some reason, if the shochet can't cover the blood, anyone can cover the blood, said the Rambam. And it's a mitzvah to cover this blood.
Yes, but then that anyone can come, but he might not know the brocha.
Sorry.
What about the brocha?
Okay, so the brocha, if they didn't,
Yeah.
they didn't, but they're still obligated to cover, and we'll see why. I'll get to it now. Now, we have to understand that what it means to cover the blood. I'm going to get to it, and I'm going to speak about Yom Tov. I'm going to explain how much of the blood we have to cover, and that's what it's going to be. So how do we do that? So we say le'alacha that a shochet have to cover the blood. If he can't, anyone can cover. But what's happened if the shochet doesn't have soil to cover the blood? He cannot shecht, Rabotai. He cannot shecht. There is no second about it. And when can thing happen? We know that in Yom Tov, Rabotai, Yom Tov you're allowed to shecht. Did you know that?
בבית המקדש.
צורך אוכל נפש. לא. Even for you.
Today.
Today.
No,
You can shecht if you don't have any other meat. צורך אוכל נפש, you're allowed to shecht on Yom Tov. But, and here comes the big but. If you shecht and you didn't prepare soil, you have a problem. So that means before you shecht on Yom Tov, נכון that you're allowed to shecht on Yom Tov.
But then how do you cook it?
רגע, I'll get to all of it.
Fire to fire.
You shecht, did you make sure that you have soil? You didn't make sure that you have soil, you're not allowed to shecht on Yom Tov. Why? Because we're not allowed to dig on Shabbat, on Yom Tov. Shabbat and Yom Tov. Now, Erwin asked, how do you cook? On Yom Tov, you're allowed to have a braai. You know that? No. So let me tell you. What do we do on Yom Tov? We have a candle, 24 hours candle,
Yeah.
that on the first night, from that fire, we light another candle, nachon, and we light the candle for Yom Tov. So what you can do? You take that, and from that light, you can light your braai, and you can bake the best steak that you can on Yom Tov. But the problem becomes, and many people make the mistake, that they put off the fire. That you're not allowed to do. Do you understand?
Hey, yes, it's got to die itself.
Because it has to die itself. And that's many people make the mistake, Rabotai. You understand me, Paul? Because many people see the braai is finished, my meat is ready. Psh, no, leave it to die. So you're allowed to cook on Yom Tov. It's from fire to fire. You're allowed to shech on Yom Tov. And if you shecht on Yom Tov, those animals that we're speaking about, the 7 wild kosher animals on the fowl, the kosher fowls, you obligate to make sure that you prepare before Yom Tov the soil to cover the blood. Okay? Now, another halacha that we have to understand. Are we obligated to cover all the blood? After the Schitah, it's enough to cover dam hanefesh. What it means, dam hanefesh? That the blood is in the soul is in the blood. So the first blood that came out from the neck, the first blood that came out, that's called dam hanefesh, and that's what we obligated to cover. That means if you didn't cover all the blood, there's no problem with that. As long that you cover the first blood that came out, and that's called dam hanefesh, the blood of the soul. Okay. The Maran Shulchan Aruch. Now I'm going to speak what Rabbi Yosef Karo said. Maran Shulchan Aruch. In Siman Kafhet, that means chapter 28, verse 28, sorry, chapter 28, verse 6, he said like this. Because there he speak about Ilchot Schitah. What happens if a person shecht those animals, and the blood came down on the ground, and it's been absorbed? Are we obligated to cover the blood or not? Do you understand my question? It's a very, very valid question. Because why? Because the ground, in the olden days, they didn't have the facility of abattoir that we have today. Because the abattoir today, it's all concrete and tile, and they put the big hose and they wash it and it's become clean. In the olden days, they used to shecht on the ground. So it's a big ground, and the blood gets absorbed. Are we obligated to cover it or not? So he said like this. As long that there is any impression of the blood on the ground, we're obligated to cover it. We obligated, it's a mitzvah to cover it. Then the Maran Shulchan Aruch asked a different question. He said, Let's say that you shech those animals, and it was a windy day, like we have in August, and come here a strong wind, and you cover the blood. But as you pour the sand on it, and you cover the blood, the wind came and blew it away. Then what?
I think it's
Do I have to repeat cover it or not? That's the question.
No, I don't think.
No. So, lehalacha you don't have to, because the mitzvah is already done. Why? Because you cover it. But mishum kavod, to show respect to the animal, we obligated to cover it. You follow?
We have to cover it.
We have to. No, you don't have to. Once that you cover it and the wind blow the sand or the soil,
But then respect, you have to cover.
for respect, you have to. Now I'm going to explain why we have to cover those animals' blood. So, on a simple thing, I have to explain like this. It's not a simple, but we have to focus. We know that there is certain animals that when we sacrifice them, they go on a mizbeach. For example, the sheep, the goat, the bull, nachon? The cow. We shech them. What do we do with them? We can sacrifice them where? On a mizbeach. So the blood gets burnt on a mizbeach. We sacrifice them. But the wild animal that we mention, they can never be sacrificed. Chicken, rabotai, can never be sacrificed on a mizbeach.
יונה.
רגע. כשאומרים עופות זה כולל הכל. יונה כן מקריבים על המזבח. רגע. עכשיו, what's happened here? Why is a chicken that we allowed to eat it, and it's a domestic animal, kosher domestic animal, and it's like a sheep, like a goat, נכון? Lamb, all of those. Obviously the cow and the bull. All of those domestic kosher animals. Chicken amongst them. How come that we're not allowed to sacrifice chicken on a mizbeach?
Hashem, don't tell us. Don't tell us.
So Hachamim tell us, there is a reason.
No, but Hashem tell us, par ben bakar, ay leola. He named it.
Yes,
He never named
but
the chicken.
the chicken he didn't name. Why? But it's kosher, we eat it.
But
And
it
it's
is-
domestic animal. So Hazal explained why chicken. Because chicken, you'll excuse my language, is all day with his wife. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like people that all day, you understand what I'm talking. The chicken loves zima. All day. So Hazal tell us HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want that kind of animal. So from the domestic animal, Rabotai, that we have, chicken amongst those that can never be sacrificed.
איפה זה כתוב?
Interesting.
I'll explain to you later, אני אסביר לך. Other explanation why dafka those animal. I'm going to bring 3 different explanations. In the Midrash say something very extraordinary. Why we obligated to cover the blood? And the Midrash tell us in Parashat Aharemot that when Cain killed Hevel, Cain, you remember Cain? He killed his brother Hevel. Remember? After he killed them, he didn't know what to do with the body. The body laid in the sun. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us that we have a mitzvah to bury anybody, even a terrorist. We obligate to bury the body. So Hevel didn't know what to do. He left it in the sun. He said that the birds and the wild animal came and they dug a grave. And they buried Hevel. And then Cain realized that there is a mitzvah from here to bury them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, in that matter, you're obligated to show gratitude to those animals. From now on, whenever you shech them, if you manage to shech those animals, some of them we do, you're obligated to cover their blood. That's the second reason. The third reason that I'm going to bring is also from the Shulchan Aruch, and the Shah there explained. And he said like this. He said the wild kosher animal and the birds, the fowls, they live free. You have to go and capture them, especially if you want to eat them. It's not like your own domestic animal that you have, the kosher one, that live with you. Those that live with you, You already supported them. You've given them food, you've given them water, you make sure that they grow up, you look after them. If they need to go to the vet, you send them to the vet. נכון? But the wild kosher animal and the wild fowls, those one, you have to go specially to catch them. That means to capture them, whatever way that you can. So it's come to tell you, because you have no, show them any gratitude, you didn't look after them, if you want to eat them, you have to show them gratitude. You cover their blood. But those domestic animals that live with you, that you look after them, they're part of yours. So you don't have to. That's how the Shulchan Aruch and the Teshach explain in the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kaf Het, that means chapter 28, verse 1. Any question? Now we can ask as much question as we want. No more. Yes.
Of course we got.
Better, of course. No?
I understand like this. The pig, the cow, and the other kosher animal.
Domestic animal.
Okay, you call
Kosher,
it domestic.
yeah.
We sacrifice it. We sacrifice it to Hashem, yes?
נכון.
Let's assume that I don't want to sacrifice like today. We can't sacrifice.
נכון.
And we take in the bull and we cut it for to eat.
נכון.
So why you not allowed?
So I'll tell you why. Because, for two reasons. Because one reason we say that they're domestic animal, that you feed them, you look after them, you give them food, they
Even
grow
chicken
water.
I look after them, I give them
Rega.
No?
The blood, as we explained, the blood of those animals, because in the time of Bet HaMikdash we used to sacrifice them, the blood belonged to the Mizbeach. We used to sprinkle the blood on the Mizbeach. The other one, they're not allowed to go on a Mizbeach. And because we explained that the soul is inside the blood, we have to cover it.
So the bull don't have soul?
No, they have.
So?
But they, in the matter, that they been sacrificed. One idea.
But for today, הלכה להיום.
Today, זה לא, היום זה כבר לא משתנה, אי אפשר לשנות. דבר שני, we say that the animal that taught, kind, and look after the body of Hevel was those kind of animals. The wild kosher animals. Yes.
All flying creatures that are predators are not kosher. So that's why the vultures and any bird that tears up flesh is not kosher. I'm just trying to enforce what you're saying.
Yeah,
about
definitely. That's what the Torah tells us. I didn't go through the non-kosher animal.
The word's called raptors.
Yes, raptors.
Predators.
Okay. So those animals, Rabotai, I repeat again, we have 7 wild kosher animals that we obligated to cover the blood, and we have the kosher fowls that we obligate to cover their blood. So now you understand a bit about covering blood, the mitzvah that we have from the Torah. But it's pleased God that a Mashiach will come before we're going to celebrate Tisha B'Av. And then we'll see the sacrificing. And we'll see what our soul desires to see. Do you imagine, for 1 second, Rabotai, just imagine for 1 second, everyone say Mashiach, Mashiach. But you know what is it, Mashiach? Because we say we want Mashiach because we don't want headache. We don't want Taurus. Let's be honest with ourselves. But imagine for 1 second, you're standing in Bet HaMikdash, the Kohen Gadol come, and you all standing there after we've been sprinkled by the holy water, Mei Parah. And then we all holy, we're standing and we see the shechting. We're seeing the sprinkling of the blood. And we see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu received that offering from us. And all our sins get erased. Can you imagine? We become a different human being. There's no more forgiveness. Everyone remember everything. No one become forgetful anymore. No problem. Those that were sick become healthy. Those that was poor, they're rich. There's no more Taurus in the world. But more than that, we see the glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And בעזרת השם, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should send us, Mashiach tzidkenu b'mehרה בימינו, אמן כן יהי רצון.